Can I have the podium?
You want the podium?
So
Oh, okay.
it would be interesting.
Alberto, we need the flags and the chair moved off the stage. And the podium. Anything else you'd like?
No, that's it. Thank you.
How long is it going to take you to get what else you need?
5 minutes. Go.
So should we bring up Joseph?
Yes.
Is it Rising or Rising?
Rising.
Joseph Rising, where are you? Now, you're going to do a reading of Frost. Going to act it out. Is somebody going to say it? You're going to say it. Okay. I give it to you.
Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. For him be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair and perhaps having the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passage there had worn them really the same, and both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how a way leads on to way, I wonder if I should really return. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one least traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
And is Claire here? Claire Cover? Come on, Claire Cover. Now, you're doing a monologue.
Yeah, I'm going to read Edmund's monologue from King Lear.
Okay?
Yes. This is scary. Thou, nature, art my goddess. To thy law my services are bound. Wherefore should I stand and allow the... Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
And allow
Free.
the curiosity of nations to deprive me, for that I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lag of a brother? Why bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as honest madam's issue. Why brand they us with bastard, with baseness, with bastardy, base, who in the lusty stealth of nature doth take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed, to the creating a whole tribe of fops between asleep and wake? Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund as to the legitimate. Fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speed and my invention thrive, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. I grow. I prosper. Now, gods, stand up for bastards. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. You know, at this dinner, we typically present the scholarship winners, but because they've now almost all of them have graduated, we only have two who are here tonight. Chloe Vaughn, where's Chloe? Did I mispronounce her last name? Oh, they left. Oh, Lord. What about Ashley?
Alan's back.
Alan's back.
Okay, just, I am the MC here.
And you're doing a fabulous job.
Well, thank you so much. Are we ready now for our martial arts? Come on, Alan. Not bad. Anything else you want, Alan?
A nice glass of water.
All right.
Martial arts. One more to demonstrate. This time it's not a weapon. Yay. A little bit better. Okay. This is called 7-Star Fist, or Mandarin Qi Xing Quan. Shaolin Qi Xing Quan.
Well, that was terrific. Let's give all three of them another hand.
Oh, David, you can see all three of them in Alice in Wonderland that we're doing at Abraham Lincoln High School. You have the Queen of Hearts, and you have Tweedledee, and you have the Cheshire Cat.
You know, Elaine, we charge for ads. There has been a changing of the guard at the Alumni Association. Bill Mustanich, who has been the president, I don't know how long, I think longer than anyone, is now becoming vice president, and Jonathan Wu is becoming, or is, the new president of the Alumni Association. And Jonathan, please stand up so everybody, I know you hate this. But I want to call up your predecessor, Bill Nastanich, because he has a special presentation.
John, will you come on up, please? John doesn't like this, but he always comes up here. Okay, there are two very special ladies that are staff members at Lincoln High School that have been invaluable to the association. And at this time, I would like Rosemary Kamkar and Christine Ng to come up here, please. This is my last duty as president. I've been waiting 2 years to do this. Anyway, Rosemary will be honored tonight as a distinguished staff member, so I'm not going to say too much about her because Gwen, who is to present her, might beat me up. So I don't want to steal her thunder. So I will say this. I've been on the board for 20 years, and Rosemary has been there the whole time. And she has been invaluable to the association. And especially to Bill Mason, who was president, and Tony Alstead, who was also president, and to me. Whatever we needed, she accommodated. I never heard the word no for her. She is one of the nicest people I have ever met. And in addition, I mean, you heard the clapping for her when her name was mentioned. She's loved by all of her students. Now, the reason I have John up here is not because he's president of the association, nor that he's been on the board for a long time. He's a former student of Ms. Kamkar's, Rosemary Kamkar's, and he has a few words to say.
Aww. The last time I did this was for Mr. Pang. So quick and simple, because again, Gwen Chan is going to induct Rosemary, and she's my aunt, and she might beat me up. But a quick story is one of the lessons that I learned under Ms. Kamkar was when I was student body president, and one of the first events that we ever did was back to school night, and it's the first and only time that she's ever yelled at me. So we were down in the cafeteria eating, and we had to go set up the auditorium, and me being the cocky 17-year-old that I was, thought I could do everything myself. And we had able bodies with us that I just didn't want anywhere to be a part of. Sorry, Brian. In short, we didn't get it done. We didn't set up in time, and we were rushed at the end. And at the end, Ms. Kamkar came up to me, and she actually yelled at me, and she said, "You can't do that. You have to have people that will help you. As a leader, you have to delegate and have the responsibility." And that's the biggest lesson that I've ever learned, and it's still, it's still part of me today, although I still try to do way too many things. So on behalf of the Alumni Association, I want to thank Ms. Kamkar for everything that you've done. We cannot describe what you've done in words. So this is at least a token of our gratitude.
Present this plaque to Rosemary. It reads, "Thank you for your 26 years of loyalty, support, tireless work, and dedication. You embody the spirit and tradition that is Lincoln High School. thank you from the Alumni Association. Okay, the next presentation is to Christine Eng. Christine, and as you've probably noticed, Christine and Rosemary are dear, dear friends for many, many decades. And this is why, part of the reason this is so special is Rosemary and Christine worked the activities office for probably 20 years together. And Christine at first was tutored by Rosemary, and then a friendship grew, and they both just did the job. It didn't make any difference who was what. Anyway, Christine is tireless in her work, and I'm going to say a little bit more about her because she's special to me. Frankly, the 75th anniversary, she took care of the entire school piece of it for the 75th anniversary. She did a magnificent job putting together probably in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 people that were mostly students. She recruited them, she assigned them, and she got them put in position for the many events that we have. And those that of you that attended know that it went from one end of the school to the other, and there were many different venues, all that needed staffing. Well, Christine is the one that took care of most of that. In addition, she did the blind auction, and we raised approximately $3,500 for that. And she made that part of the event very successful. And like I said, she's very dear to me because it was my responsibility to put it on, and she just took that piece of it and took care of it. And I want to thank her for that. And John has something to say about her too.
So I was lucky enough to not have missing as a teacher. And I didn't really know that because I didn't have much interaction with her. But on the 75th committee, I think we started that in October of 2014 or something like that. I got text messages almost every day she would text me at 10 o'clock at night, then again at midnight, and then again at 4 a.m. So I don't think she sleeps. But it was very different ideas of what to add to the 75th, which both added to my part of the 75th and added to her part of the 75th, which apparently she was fine with. I just went along with it. And judging by the PTSD, thank you for that, by the way. So again, listen, you like Ms. Kamkar, are an instrumental part of the Alumni Association, and we can't thank you enough for the insomnia and for putting on that event that was a big success. And maybe in 25 years we'll do it again, or you can do it again.
Christine was an outstanding activities director and always supported the Alumni Association, but the thing that is most special about her that I have observed of her is she's just an outstanding English teacher who relates to her classes on many different levels, from a very intellectual level and to the level of a very caring teacher. And that's probably the most inspiring that I saw of her that inspired me, because she was such a magnificent teacher and still is. She's still a teacher at Lincoln High School. And again, I want to thank her for her service to the association and the personal part of how she helped me with the 75th. And we have a plaque for her. Thank you for your 20 years of loyalty, support, tireless work, and dedication. You embody the spirit and tradition that is Lincoln High School. And these two ladies together are just wonderful and have done a tremendous amount for the association. Thank you both.
So Gwen, after all that, are you ready to follow it? Okay, I want to acknowledge Gwen Chan, and you know, her son, Darren, was supposed to be here. Darren, you may all know, is the engineer on the broadcast for the Giants games. Often mentioned, Darren Chan, often mentioned, and I think he every once in a while gets his mom and Rosemary into a private box at the ballpark, because I see them on television. So, former principal, former superintendent of schools in San Francisco, Gwen Chan.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I had to do some scratching off. Okay, here we go. Good evening. What a lovely gathering of Mustang family and friends tonight. I really enjoy seeing familiar faces, catching up, and also meeting new alum. Especially Seth Lee, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Where is he? Oh, there you are, in front of me. There's so much pride among all the participants here tonight regarding Lincoln High School, and it just touches my heart warmly. But as always, our gratitude to former alumni president David Whitehead and loyal event planner, where are you? Izzy Hogan? And Christine again. How about Christine? Sorry, Ron. I hired her.
But I nurtured her.
Oh, okay, you got me there. And kudos to our former alumni president, Bill Mustanich, for being a photographer tonight, and his little elves, Brian and Sean, wherever you are. Elves. Okay. Tonight is a long time coming. Many frequent flyers to this recognition award dinner have sat at these same tables wondering, when is Rosemary Kamkar going to receive the Distinguished Faculty Award? Well, tonight's the night.
Yeah.
Rosemary retired to meet the requirement. Rosemary's accomplishments, plural, as a mother, grandmother, teacher, and counselor of special education, student activities director, former assistant principal, our school district student advisory council advisor, colleague, and friend are many, many, and so impressive. I'm guessing, though, that her proudest achievement is being mom to Sean. Where's Sean? Yay, Sean. Sean is a graduate of our beloved Lincoln, class of 2000, former student body president, and alumni scholarship winner. You know, we should have an event in the future with former alumni winners to see.
I think you ought to organize it.
What they become. Big mouth, all right. Sean has a PhD in aerospace engineering from Stanford University. And he advanced quickly up the corporate ladder to be vice president of ZES. Is it pronounced AI? Yay. Artificial intelligence. Mr. Grakens, are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And heads data science. He and his wife, Abby, live in Burbank with California with two adorable children, Margot 4 and Jack 2. All wish they could be here to honor, with Sean to honor Rosemary. So, it was in 1977 when Rosemary arrived in San Francisco from a small town in Pennsylvania seeking work. Her first job was with the Hunters Point Boys Club, where she quickly established trust, tutoring students and writing grants. Now you gotta picture this, a blonde, beautiful girl venturing into Hunters Point, you know, and working with a population that may seem surprised, but they welcomed her and loved her very much. 3 years later, she started her teaching career with the school district, teaching in a number of schools, and in 1984, she ventured west to begin teaching at Abraham Lincoln High School. She taught typing and 10th grade English, and then special education for the next 32 years, for a total of 37 distinguished years with the school district. I had the good fortune of meeting Rosemary in 1992 when I was assigned to Lincoln as the new principal. The challenges were many, but I, along with a core group of faculty, staff, PTSA, and the Alumni Association led by, of course, David Whitehead at that time, wanted the same goals: a revitalized, academic, comprehensive, and safe school with pride in being a Mustang. And included in that core group was Rosemary. By the way, I would be remiss if I did not recognize another key leader at Lincoln then, and who's present tonight and was already introduced, Miss Florence O'Malley. As I moved on to other district positions, including supervising 17 high schools, I can attest that Lincoln High School had the most spirited and positive school culture for teaching and learning for most of the 90s and 2000s. Administrators come and go, but it is truly the lead teachers who stay and maintain traditions and fight for what they work hard to achieve for the school community. Rosemary, by far, fulfilled that continuity over and over again because she truly loved Abraham Lincoln High School and worked tirelessly with compassion in her heart. Just ask the parents and students she counseled and found resources to support them under difficult circumstances. In fact, ask any of the former and present stars of Lincoln faculty and staff that I was going to introduce, but someone else did, including the incomparable former principal, Ron Pang. Okay. And even Dan Yee is here. Oh, Dan, you there? Dan Yee is a teacher at Washington, and I don't know how, but he was at Washington more than he was, rather he was at Lincoln more than he was at Washington. But we thank you for your support through the years. In addition to Rosemary's teaching and counseling of special education to her students, her leadership in student government, already touched upon tonight, helped shape countless students' lives. And she kept school traditions like the Brotherhood, Sisterhood, Assembly, and Thundering Mustang Rally going strong with a purpose of unifying all students, elevating school spirit, and recognizing student leadership and potentials. And one of her former students is here tonight, and she's kept up with him, among many others, is Gerardo Mata Herrera. Yes, okay. And John already took my speech and introduced himself as being a former student leader under Rosemary. Huh? Okay. Indeed, Rosemary, you have touched so many of our lives. I salute and congratulate you. All A+s on your report card. And now, please welcome our Distinguished Faculty Award recipient, Rosemary Kamkar.
I ever had to write, because every time I sat down to start, it would go in so many different directions. It's like, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to stand up here and talk about Lincoln High School in some cohesive way? So bear with me, and these are my thoughts, okay? Thank you, first of all, to my dear friend Gwen for that kind introduction, as well as to my son Sean, who is here tonight, and the former colleagues and students, and my alumni friends, here to celebrate this evening together. We've missed each other, and it's really good to see you in person. Thank you to the Abraham Lincoln High School Alumni Association and to its Wall of Fame committee for this honor, because it truly means a lot. And congratulations to our alumni inductees, Phil Carville and Isaac Vaughn. I am looking forward to hearing your stories. I'd also like to congratulate our 2020 and 2021 Alumni Scholarship winners for going above and beyond while at Lincoln High School. May the academic and social foundation that they built at Lincoln continue to serve them well as they pursue their career and personal goals and dreams. May they never forget their roots. Remember, once a Mustang, always a Mustang. And thanks again, the alumni, for your continued support through your very generous scholarship program. I remember when I first arrived at Lincoln in 1984, there was no formal alumni association. In the late 80s, Principal Phil Lung asked me to represent the school as activities director and attend a meeting with alumni who were not only working on organizing this association, but also planning for the school's 50th anniversary gala that was held at the Marriott in 1990, an event that ASB officers and I were actually invited to enjoy. And as some of you know and remember, it was quite impressive. Like, I truly loved the Decades Room. It was just so much fun. So I was also fortunate enough to be able to work with all 5 of the alumni presidents, including our new president, Jonathan Wu, my former student. Jonathan, again, congratulations. We met in 1999 when you were a freshman class officer and we worked together for 4 years. I am very proud of you and of your fellow alumni executive board members who also were part of ASB, Sean Yee and Brian Luker, both here tonight. That's Sergeant Luker, SFPD. The 3 of you have given so much of your time and energy to strengthen the association for so many years, just like you did to ASB and show choir. You made it more efficient and inclusive and memorable back in the day. And again, your largest and most successful event was the Abraham Lincoln High School 75th anniversary celebration, held on campus in October of 2015. That truly was a ton of work. And may you have continued success, and thank you for everything you and this organization continue to do for the students and staff of our school. I know how truly invaluable your support is. So, what was it really like for a small town country girl from Western Pennsylvania to teach at Lincoln? Think about it. I was hired as a special education teacher whose job was to level the playing field, or in this case, the classroom experiences for students with documented learning differences, with IEPs or individualized learning plans. I knew how to do my job, but I never imagined what diverse and varied life experience and remarkable stories so many of our students have, so different from mine. For example, I didn't even see the ocean until I was 17, and I can count on my hands how many times I actually visited the city of Pittsburgh, you know? I mean, at Lincoln, every time I walked those stairwells to the 2nd and 3rd floor, and I would get a glimpse of the ocean or the fog, I would say, thank you, God. Seriously, because I learned so much from so many for so long, and that's truly a blessing. I always believe that a real partnership with a student in his or her home, teachers and coaches, does indeed produce positive results. And that's what I did as a full-time special education resource specialist. Attendance and effort, attitude, along with Principal Pang's 3 R's, rigor, relevance, and relationships, are a proven recipe for lifelong success. Special thanks and much love to our very competent and supportive special ed staff, especially our classroom paraprofessionals, with whom I've had the pleasure of working so closely. I could not have lasted 37 years without you. My first para and Lincoln alumna is here this evening, Miss Peggy Collins. Believe it or not, I met her in the old Shack 7, as is Jim Garzaloni, my 137 roommate and right-hand man for so many years. You guys, thank you for being here tonight. Although I never intended to spend my last 30 years of teaching overseeing one of the largest student activities programs in the city, being in that unique position allowed me to see the school with its successes and its challenges over such a long period of time from a different perspective. So I would like to highlight a few events that I believe greatly impacted the school's path to success. And this was my experience. I have to first acknowledge the class of 1988, because we learned the ropes together, right? We entered Lincoln in 1984. I dove into yearbook and activities their senior year to help this class after the activities director and yearbook sponsor resigned. To this day, the class of '88 remains very special to me. Thank you for teaching me about participation, school spirit, Mustang pride, and traditions. I love you guys. Lincoln remained a safe neighborhood school until April of 1992, when one lunch period changed everything. A student was shot on campus. His spinal cord was severed, but he survived, though as a quadriplegic. That day's news was consumed by Rodney King, and there was no instant technology or social media. So if you never knew about this incident, that's the reason why. However, many on campus could feel the dike bursting, and we were running out of fingers, fast. Our former dean, Florence O'Malley, would agree, right? I mean, it was. The storm tensions were brewing and ready to bubble over. Nothing was normal. We had to do something. So the administration chose to rely on student leaders to assemble their peers and begin to get us back on track. A small group was given 1 week, which included me. We were excused from classes. Our task was to plan, organize, and produce 2 back-to-back assemblies in the auditorium, while the police and gang task force would line the walls, just in case. Thank goodness to these students who rose to the occasion in their open mic forum that met the challenge. I still get goosebumps when I remember that first Unity Assembly. All of us owe a huge and heartfelt thank you to the class of '92 and those brave student leaders who represented the various student Lincoln organizations that came together and showed us what it truly means to be a Mustang with pride and brotherhood. The following year, Ms. Gwen was assigned to Lincoln as principal. It was she who asked ASB and me to continue to organize and hold an annual school-wide Unity Assembly, an extravaganza known as the Brotherhood Sisterhood Assembly. It is this event that I am most proud of, and I am delighted to tell you that in 2017, we celebrated the 25th annual assembly. Every year, the 350 participants, or plus, it was a lot of kids, who worked together for months, learned the history and the significance of this most popular tradition. Never the same, but always meaningful for those who are lucky enough to experience it. The assembly has had a major positive effect on Lincoln's school culture and climate. This is one tradition that I hope to be the centerpiece of our student activities program for many years to come. In just a few short years, the fruits of our labor were evident to us on campus, but it takes a while for a school's reputation to actually catch up. We need to acknowledge a class of '96 for helping to get the word out. The class of '96 stands out for 2 reasons. First, there were more boys than girls in ASB and class activities. Loud, energetic, dedicated boys. Second, the reason why this group stands out was they were collectively truly proud to be Mustangs. It was just, I just can't explain, they possess like a certain je ne sais quoi, a palpable sense of determination to strive to be their best selves. They were absolutely exceptional, this group of 96. Their yearbook, titled Unique and Distinguished, explained why we were moving on up, so to speak. They created an incredible chronicle of campus life, and I was so proud to be able to work closely with them as both ASB and yearbook sponsor. Because of their unyielding dedication and positive outlook and achievement, Lincoln's reputation began to improve, and students and parents began to take notice outside of Lincoln. In December of 1996, those at Lincoln suffered a tremendous loss when a much-loved assistant principal and volleyball coach, Peter Yan, drowned in a diving accident during winter break. This tragedy made us an even more cohesive community as we pulled together and worked even harder to honor his memory. Mr. Yan, Superman, forever a Mustang. Principal Gwen became head of high schools in 1997, and the beloved Ron Pang took the helm. By 2000, the majority of 8th graders in the city requested to attend Lincoln. Even Mayor Newsom couldn't help get them enrolled. When he came to speak to my leadership class, the mayor talked frankly with my students and congratulating them on turning Lincoln into the #1 comprehensive high school in the city. For years, we remained at the top. In 2000 and 2001, Mr. Pang took a sabbatical, and Frank Tom served as the interim principal. So for 1 year, I stepped up and I was an administrator. Margaret Chu, Fiorenzo Gardine, and I made up the assistant principal team. And together, we spearheaded Lincoln's application for the California Distinguished School. It was like doing a WASC accreditation report on steroids. Yes, that year Lincoln did earn its Distinguished School status, an honor that I am also very proud of. Mr. Pang returned to Lincoln, I returned to teaching, and Abraham Lincoln High School continued its upward trajectory. The new Wellness Center was a much needed resource, as was a revived academy program. In October of 2005, students asked me to help chaperone a trip to San Francisco State for La Raza Day, where they were inspired by Dr. Jeff Andrade, an assistant professor and director of La Raza Studies. To make a long story short, these students wanted Jeff to come to Lincoln and work with our students and staff to help our underachievers. So, Ron's assistant principal, Kristen Mazzaros, their teacher, Alex Mendieta, these students and I developed a workable plan with Dr. Andrade, and by December of 2005, he was on campus. By January of 2006, we had a teacher-student leadership team, which formed the foundations of something called the Movement, and it was a 3-year funded teacher training program led by Dr. Andrade. The program was so successful that San Francisco State agreed to partner with Lincoln in the creation of its Step to College program on our campus. So in August of 2008, we were proud that more than 30 juniors and seniors, many Latino and African American who were first in their families to attend college, enrolled in and graduated from this program, where they earned college credit by taking required coursework that was offered weekly after school at Lincoln. Many of these students continued at State upon graduation with a definite advantage, because now they had a safety net. They knew people. They knew offices. This is an example of how students and staff who share a common vision can come together to make positive change. Thank you, class of 2006, and Lincoln's reputation continued to soar. Mr. Pang retired in 2009, and the fun-loving Barnaby Payne continued this tradition of excellence. Also in 2009, Christine Ng officially became the co-activities director until I retired in 2017. She was the driving force behind the scenes since the early 90s as a class sponsor. Christine truly is the epitome of organization, planning, communication, and efficiency. She kept us all on task and truly does amazing work, as evidenced by her major contribution to Lincoln's 75th anniversary event in 2015. And it got even better, because together we had the opportunity to team teach first period 9th grade English for about the last 5 years before I retired. And it was a special ed, gen ed partnership And I got to start my day every day with my very good friend. So how lucky were we? May I also acknowledge Sean Alec, a former music teacher and show choir and class sponsor who assisted with activities during the middle 2000s, and Elaine Walenta, theater tech and drama teacher who provided sound and assistance for so many years as well. Our current principal, Sherry Belisi, was promoted when Mr. Payne was reassigned in 2016. You know, ALHS is fortunate to have strong and supportive roots that anchor and nourish those lucky enough to enter its doors. And I believe that through shared vision, determination, and hard work, positive and impactful changes evolve. In closing, I learned that it truly takes a village to create the ultimate climate and culture for a thriving school community. ASB was the driving force for activities and tradition, but we relied on various organizations, both students and staff, to help us plan and hold successful events. So thank you to those whom I've had the pleasure of working with, representing JROTC. I'm sorry that Colonel could not be here this evening. Links, show choir, drama and theater tech, peer resource and wellness, the academies, the ethnic clubs, VSA participants, athletics and PE, teacher chaperones and club sponsors, security and deans, custodians, accountants, admin, other community-based organizations, PTSA, and of course you, the Alumni Association of Abraham Lincoln High School. Thanks to each of you who were part of my Lincoln journey. You not only were important village members, but truly are members of my West Coast family. Thank you. I am so very blessed, and thank you for this honor.
Thank you, Rosemary. You know, a school is a community. Faculty, staff, students who performed, and those who've gone through it and have graduated, and that's the alumni. And now we are going to induct 2 individuals into the Lincoln Wall of Fame. Jennifer Rosser, is she here? Where are you, Jennifer? She's going to introduce Phil Carville. Now, why don't you come up? Come on up, Jennifer. How many people here are skiers? Skiers, you know, snow? Okay, just hold that thought. Jennifer? His bio is in the program.
Oh, I'm just going to sort of ad-lib about my dad, so I'll let him introduce himself. But yeah, I was really excited to come to this event, primarily because my brother and my husband and I got to spend 2 days with my dad. He's a 3rd-generation San Franciscan. So his grandmother got on a ship and came over from Germany, worked in the Presidio. But you know, I didn't grow up here. My dad did, and I was really fascinated and excited to spend 2 days with him, you know, wandering through the city and having him explain to us why Lincoln High School was such a great place. We looked at what size elementary school, and it just really gave me a sense of that the 50s and the 60s were not that long ago, you know? I mean, for me, it's Happy Days and it's movies, but for him, you know, seeing the streets that he walked on and going past Lincoln High School, suddenly it was real. You know, I had heard of Lincoln High School, and there it was. And now I'm learning tonight even more about what an amazing place it is. But, so my dad, he finished in 1957, and he was a city boy, as I said, 3 generations, but he loved, his father would take him camping in the Trinity Alps, and he developed this love of the outdoors. And so before he finished at Lincoln, he worked for the Forest Service. So he'd go up, and I think he said he would prune trees and be in the outdoors, completely different from his urban life that he had in San Francisco. But what I think really I love about my dad is that he has this real sense of adventure. So here's a city boy who goes out into the mountains and decides to work for the Forest Service. And after doing that, decides that he's going to go into the military. And I think it was maybe not a really well thought through decision. But he went back and he was in the Marine Corps and did that for 3 years. I guess at that time he had to serve, which I think is very honorable. And came back, and all of a sudden he had a family. So my brother and I, and he has 2 kids to support. So he went to UC Berkeley, and I guess my point here is he came from an immigrant family, 3 generations. He's the first person to actually finish high school in his family. Did service in the military, came back, went to UC Berkeley, studied forestry, and then went on to get an MBA to support these 2 little mouths that he had to feed. So, and he went on and got his first job was with IBM. So I think a lot of people would be thrilled to get him to a corporation and work their way up the chain. But I think my dad has a real adventurous spirit, and my experience is that he loves to eat up life. He loves to take risks. He's been a serial entrepreneur. So rather than staying at IBM, which if you want to do that for 30 years, that's wonderful, but his choice was to start a computer company, and at a very young age, in his 30s, started selling these huge mainframe computers, and just did a variety of entrepreneurial things that I think take a lot of guts and really show his character. Another thing that I remember, we moved after he worked for IBM. He was hired by Fiberboard for a variety of reasons. Maybe he'll go into some details, but we ended up living in North Star ski resort in the 70s, and still being a young man. And I remember going up the Siberia chair with my dad, and he said he was going to do a backflip off this kangaroo jump. And sure enough, there's my dad and my brother following him. No experience whatsoever, right? Not a gymnast or anything, and he does this backflip. Of course, he crashed. But to me, that just showed his desire to just do stuff, to eat up life. He also, without any training, went and did the ride and tie. I think I was in 6th grade, and he jumped on a horse with a friend of his, and his friend ran, and he rode his horse, and they did this ride and tie event. So I guess what I really admire about my dad is he's just go for it, eat up life attitude. So after, a certain number of successful careers, and I won't go too far into it, I asked him yesterday, I said, so Dad, what are you most proud of with your career and your achievements? And he said, well, I hope it's that I was a great dad to you and Mike. And I can say that you definitely were. So that's my dad.
So Bill, where are you?
Thanks, Bill.
And would you do me a favor, Phil, and mention North Star a lot so everybody understands why I mentioned skiing?
Most of you probably know North Star is a ski resort. I was the president of North Star in the mid-1970s, and that's why I guess Bill said, or David said, how many people are skiers? One of the things I guess listening to the intro for the first time from my daughter is that you can gather I've done a lot of stupid things. I want to say thank you very much for this honor. I don't know who nominated me, but I want to thank that person. Thank you very much. I know Isaac deserves, his induction. I want to thank the selection committee for lowering the bar a bit in my case. Thank you very much. I know I'm going to forget, in these type of things, you think of what you're going to say, and you don't want to look too stupid, and so on and so forth. I know I'm going to forget a lot of the things I want to say, but in the 50s,
San Francisco was just an incredibly marvelous place. It's changed quite a bit. In the 50s, it was a fully functioning town. It had a produce district, it had canneries, it had a steel production, it had made its own beer, slaughterhouse district. It was the produce district. It was just like a fully functioning, wonderful city. And for kids, you know, if you had a bicycle and a token for the streetcar, the world was yours. There was just like nothing you couldn't do. It was a fabulous city. And I'm so proud of all the people I went to school with, and I thought we were very cool, but I can tell from the audience tonight, the school has continued to grow and be more exciting and be more energetic. And I just compliment you all the new students, whatever teachers, you've made an incredible school out of Lincoln. Thank you very much. Like my daughter said, I graduated, obviously I went to Cal and left for the mountains, and for many years I lost touch with school. And then after a while I started to get the Lincoln log for some reason, and I started to kind of reminisce on all the people that I had missed, and all of a sudden Jeff Stahl shows up today, and Bill, I followed Bill via the Lincoln log for a long time. Izzy, I followed the Lincoln log through you, and then today I had one of the most marvelous days in my life, and I've had some marvelous days, but today I just met with 3 of my Lincoln High School, 2 guys with whom I went to Lawton School, and then 1 guy that I met in high school, and it was just like recounting all the old days, the fun, the stupid things we did, the wonderful things we did, and I'm so appreciative of all the friends that I had, all the people, some of whom have passed, but we just had a wonderful school. Regarding stupid things, I've done many, and I'm sure many of you have too. There was a reference here to AI tonight. She made it, and artificial intelligence. I remember reading a book by Michael Lewis. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about 2 brilliant Israelis who were philosophers, mathematicians. Some of you may have read the book. I can't remember the name. But there was a passage in the book about if you were in the room and if you didn't realize that, whatever the guy's name was, we'll make up a name, if you didn't realize that he was the smartest guy in the room in 5 minutes, you were really stupid, you know? And so when it was reference to AI, I remember it just flashed in my head just a few minutes ago. At one of the conferences, this brilliant Israeli was asked, why don't you study artificial intelligence? And he looked at the guy and said, we don't study artificial intelligence. We study human stupidity, which I thought was wonderful. Anyway, I just want to say thank you very much for this, this award. Isaac, I'm looking forward to hearing all about your speech, etc. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who made this school so wonderful. And I want to thank everybody who has made, via your contributions, the world a better place. Thank you very much.
We misspelled Phil's name on the plaque. So he'll have 2 plaques. I believe that somebody that I wanted to introduce before has arrived. Zeph Lee. Would you stand up? Zeph Lee was on 1980 team as well. And I believe he played for the Raiders of Las Vegas, right? Oh, sorry. John Sullivan, would you come up to introduce Isaac Vaughn?
Pretty amazing to witness all the alumni and people I went to high school with and family members all in one room this community of Mustangs is pretty impressive. I didn't realize the fabric of it all. And you kind of see it in this room, all the generations. You have current teachers, you have former instructors and administrators from Lincoln just carrying on the pride of Mustangs. So it feels really good. It feels even better to stand in front of everyone and introduce one of the most special people in my life. That's how special he is. Is that your phone? Isaac and I met in homeroom, sophomores, 10th grade in Lincoln High School. And we've always known of each other because we both played in this PAL, Police Athletic League, for football. Isaac was always a level behind me, not in talent, not just in age. But we never knew each other. And our first meeting was in the 10th grade. At that time, I was playing JV football. Isaac chose to stay in the PAL for the 10th grade and continue playing. And so we would have arguments on who was a better team, the JV team at Lincoln High School or the PAL team that he was playing for. And so we got into it every once in a while. But we're just becoming good friends. But I distinctively remember our sophomore year, Isaac says he's going to run for junior class president. Am I correct? Junior class? Yeah. And I'm going like, what? Like, who's interested in high school government? But high school government people. So it was his speech to give out in the courtyard at lunchtime. Everybody at lunchtime is doing their thing. And I think there were 3 speakers. And I'm sitting there, I'm in support of him, because he's my friend. And the first 2 people come, they give their speeches, and no one's listening. Barely any people clap or even paying attention. Isaac gets up, and within halfway through his speech, the whole courtyard is quiet. He not only has my attention, but he has everybody's attention in that courtyard. And one of the parts of being a leader is having vision and having a lot of courage. In that speech, Isaac was able to relate to a bunch of 15-year-olds the importance of having purpose. And this experience is a very valuable experience, and this is going to be your time to be who you are and grow. And by the time he finished his speech, he almost got a standing ovation. Some people stood up and clapped. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm with him. And we just developed a very strong friendship. He is my chosen family. We've been through 45 years of life together. I need glasses now. What a shame.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, when I was reading the program, there were a couple of things that stood out to me. It just jumped right off the page. And he led the Mustangs, quote. Isaac led the 79 team to victory, quote. That's what I think about when I think of Isaac Vaughn, his leadership. He's always led, and I don't think leaders, are born, but it's through struggle, determination, willpower, and hard work, a person becomes a leader. And in that 45 years, I've been able to watch him become a leader. In Isaac's case, it transcended the football field. He's always, just like in high school, it was more about sports. He also wanted to be involved in the student body. He wanted to lead other students and be a part of the community. The man you're about to meet is one of those rare human beings that strive for excellence in everything he does. He's strongly driven by his core values of courage, integrity, honesty, humanity, and a clear focus are all the ingredients that makes Isaac Vaughn. It's my honor. Come on up. I have a nickname for Isaac. Isaac Filibuster Vaughn. So I'm going to give you some of my time. So filibuster.
John, before you go.
Good evening. It is a real pleasure and honor to be before you tonight. I want to first start by recognizing my fellow honorees, Rosemary, Phil. It is truly humbling and a privilege to share this evening with both of you and your long list of accomplishments and contributions to the mighty Mustang Nation. I want to thank the Alumni Association. 28 years, this institution of the Wall of Fame has existed. And it is through your work, your efforts, your vision, and your love of this school that you put on an event of this quality. I am humbled to now have my name alongside those previous honorees, not the least of which, the Honorable Martin Jenkins, California Supreme Court Justice, Mike Holmgren, Johnny Miller, Lawrence Tribe, Tony Serra, Terry Lowry, Barbara Eden, I Dream of Jeannie. The list goes on and on and on. And I would be remiss if I didn't call out Izzy and David for your work in making this night truly special. John called me about a week ago, and he asked me how I felt about receiving this award. And first thing I said is, damn, I'm getting old. This is not about Isaac the football player. This is lifetime achievement. And then when I started to take
inventory, not only of what I did and have done, you start to ask why. And for me, it was very clear. You do not accomplish what I've been so fortunate and blessed to do and experience and achieve without so many people who care about you as a person, as a human being. You know, my current boss, we've now worked together across 2 companies, and we always say to each other, in order for us to be successful, somebody outside of Uyala, someone outside of Zenefits, has to care as much about our success as we do. And that is so apropos for my life, because I am surrounded by so many people who care about my success, who want me to be successful just because they love me, they trust me, they believe in me. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to identify a few of those people. But the list is long and way too many. And we'd be here forever if I chronicled all of them. But indulge me for a minute. My head coach, Ray Reagans. Ray Reagans gave me the opportunity to lead, to prove that I could win, not only with my legs, but with my arm, and more importantly, with my head and my heart. And when I went down to Santa Clara, and initially was not getting the opportunity, and a lot of people in this room don't know this, it was Ray Reagans who called Pat Malley. And he said, you got a good one in Isaac Vaughn. Treat him right. And if you don't, that'll be the last Mustang you will recruit to Santa Clara. And I thank you for that. And he was there. And you know, Mustangs stick together. When I won that starting job at Santa Clara, we played San Francisco State. That was my first start. Who was there? Ray Reagans. That's what being a Mustang is all about. The Honorable Martin Jenkins wanted to be here so much tonight, but I guess when you're a California Supreme Court justice, you just can't move your schedule to get up here on Monday. But Marty, when I met him, was Coach Jenkins. He was in his second year of law school at USF. And he was, for me, the most amazing mentor. Took me down, introduced me to the coaches at Santa Clara, and was with me every step of the way up to tonight. And then my teammates. John Sullivan. You heard it. We met in homeroom over 40 years ago. Brothers then, brothers now. Zeph Lee gets on a plane, flies up here tonight. He said, Isaac, I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. Dan Slade. Izzy said, Dan's got a table and there's more of them coming. Isaac, he's bringing them all out. Dan and I, Ebony and Ivory, all the way back to junior high. Behind the scenes, we were keeping the peace, keeping the brotherhood together. And the two Dons, also part of that Giannini crew at Abraham Lincoln High School, Dan Haggerty, teammate, and Mike Slade, Dan's brother. Dealey. That's what it's all about. You know, when I went to Santa Clara, Marty said, you're going to meet some of the best people in your life. Two of those Santa Clara people are here tonight. David Drummond, Paris Greenwood, teammates. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my sister-in-law. I met her after my experience in Santa Clara, married to my brother, but she's also a Bronco. So every step of the way, I've had people with me, including the fourth person from Santa Clara here tonight. My wife of 30 years, Maria Nash Vaughn. Together we have two wonderful kids, Jacqueline and Joseph. They would have been here, except Jackie is on the East Coast supporting her brother while we're away. Joseph is a junior playing football at Yale, and we'll all be going back, including my parents and my younger brother, to support Joseph in that game against the team from the north. But Maria is not only my wonderful wife of over 30 years and the mother of our two kids. She truly is my consigliere. She was the one who convinced me that I had a future in law, that led me to Wilson Sonsini, becoming, along with David, only the second and third African-American partners in the firm, and the first two in the corporate practice. I had a 14-year run, worked with some of the most amazing technology companies, grew as a person. I tell people I went to law school and graduated from the University of Michigan, and I got my MBA at Wilson Sonsini. And it was that same consigliere who then convinced me that if I left and pursued the path that I ultimately pursued, entrepreneurialism and now a senior executive at a software company, that I too could do that, that my full talents and abilities would be put to use, and I could have success. That's who I'm surrounded by. But last, and certainly not least, Mom, Dad, Lionel, Daniel, thank you for your love, your support, your continued belief in me. Tonight, it's not just Isaac being inducted into the Wall of Fame. It's all of you. Because every step, every milestone, every experience, every high, every low, just like tonight, you've always been there. In closing, to that school, high on the hilltop, mid sand and sea, we will honor thee forever. In honoring me tonight, you also honor my family, a proud San Francisco family, and I thank you for that. And perhaps many, many, many years down the road, if someone walks by that plaque and sees that face and sees that name, and they say, wow, I wonder what his story is beyond the words. And I will tell them, I am the living example of what is possible when around you and throughout your journey, you have people who care about you, who believe in you, and allow you to grow into who you're meant to be. Thank you all very, very much.
keep standing, that's all right. At the end of these evenings, I'm usually yelled at by Kenyatta Scott, who yells, him, you gotta do the hymn. Well, Kenyatta, you're gonna come up here and help us do the hymn. And if you don't remember the words, they're in the program. And also, from the Lincoln class of 2006, the talented Yoyo Chan is also going to help us. Come on, Yoyo.
Oh! Aren't you glad the person who was born in your graduation year is not here?
Go ahead.
Just
The
together.
floor is yours.
Okay, is everybody up? Ready to go? No need to be bashful. I see all of you young people. Okay, you laughing at me?
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
High on a hilltop, mid sand and sea, Abraham Lincoln, we will honor thee forever. Thy sons and daughters are ever along the trail, always will remember thee. Hail, hail, hail!
Well, we just found the lost chord. Well, thank you all for attending. Congratulations to our honorees, to Rosemary, and please, everyone, drive carefully.